I took these pictures with my Canon R5 and I chose the HDR mode, high dynamic range. I took 3 pictures in succession with each one, and I saved the raw pictures. I let the camera process the high HDR picture within the camera, and I took from that I made some panoramic pictures from those pictures that were HDR and made a panorama of HDR pictures. Now for the high dynamic range picture, I used the ones that the camera processed, and they're on the bottom of the screen. For the ones on the top, I processed HDR with my computer program, Cyberlink Photo Director 365 is the program I used, and I labeled it so that I would know which one was which. For most of the pictures, it's obvious that I have the lights are darker and the darks are lighter when I processed it with the computer program. As you can see with a lot of these, it's pretty obvious that where there are lots of shadows, the computer program did a better job of highlighting those than the camera program did, the R5. Now the high dynamic range doesn't affect the focus, so I tried to focus in the distance mostly of the subject, try to get everything in focus that I could. But what it did was it tried to lighten up the areas that were dark and make it more of a usable picture. Now this picture of the Sedgwick County Forensic Science Center, if you look at the detail, you pause it or whatever, you see the bricks in the upper picture. That was on my computer. It's obvious that there's more detail in that picture. Now this is a picture off of the street in Wichita at Chautauqua and 9th Street about, and it's not as obvious because the shadows are not actually on the mural on the wall there. This one is a lot more obvious. I'm shooting towards the sun, and you can see the power station there, and you can see a lot more detail in the upper picture of the power station. The one on the bottom was processed in the camera, the one on the top was processed on the computer. Now this picture of the Nifty Nut House, it's a lot brighter on the top picture because the darkness was opened up, and it's easier to see that it's obvious. Now in the next picture you'll see the wall on the right there of the squirrels and you'll see that there's not a lot of difference because the sun is hitting that directly, and so there wasn't much range for the camera to correct or for the computer to correct for that matter. A little bit of it though, you can see that it's brighter in the darker areas on the top from the computer processed. Now the picture of the downtown here with the buildings and stuff, it's obvious that the old courthouse that's in the middle of the picture there is a lot brighter. Now the bottom picture, it's not as enlarged as much. I didn't enlarge it, but it's obvious that it's darker. And now this is a picture, the old courthouse on the left and the newer courthouse in the center there, and you can see that's a lot brighter. Now they're in shadow for a lot of that, but the computer program lightened them up quite a bit. Now this is another picture. That triangle shaped building is the tallest building in Kansas, which not all that tall, but that's our tallest building for now until somebody comes up with a bigger one. Now there's the new courthouse there, the blue building, and you can see there's plenty of light on both of those, so there's not a lot of difference in the dynamic range of those two pictures. Now this picture is off the street there, about Elm and Market Street in Wichita, and you see the building there, and there's not a whole lot of correction made. That the short building there seems about the same to me, and this it seems very much the same. The computer and the camera processed it about equally because there's direct sun on about everything. And evidently I didn't get quite all the panorama on that one picture. This is another picture, again with a lot of direct sun hitting the buildings, so the panorama wasn't really, the high dynamic range wasn't really of much use for this one because it was full sun. Again, same thing here, the full city, Wichita there. The buildings you can see are all lit up and pretty much the same in both pictures. Now this is a picture of the arena, Interest Bank Arena in Wichita, and again it's fairly well lit up all around in that picture, on both the camera and on the computer. This is the view just off the highway there, the Highway 400 and out into Wichita. We call it Kellogg. You can see that pretty much the same. This is back towards the city again, and that tall pointed building there is the museum, the historical museum, and you see that it's all fairly well lit, so there's not a lot of dynamic range on that picture as well. And here's about the same view, and from the south side of the city. Well, that's about it. Play with high dynamic range and have some fun with it. Combine them and make a panorama. Thanks for watching.